Hi beer lovers, welcome to Beer CZ. This is an introduction to Czech beer, and I shall do some translations and explain the details of Czech beer. Beer is cheaper than water in the Czech Republic in a pub or a restaurant. If you buy a half litre of beer, it's under 30 krona for a low alcohol beer, where water is more than 35 krona for a 0.3 litre beer. So you can see that beer is very low price in the Czech Republic. Beer normally comes in the bottles you see here. The next ones you have is when you're into a pub, you have a choice of beer, a small Mali or a large Velký. Now this is a 0.3 for the small, 0.5 litre for the larger one, and then there are some odd ones. Specials can come in 0.4. Some pubs, special pubs or maybe restaurants will do a 0.4 of beer instead. So that's a typical. Some pubs you can of course get the litre glasses, and that is a very big glass indeed. I'm going to explain how we select the beers. Now on the beers themselves we have like 10, 11, 12, 13. Now I'll show you on the bottle in a minute. This is Samson. I use this because it has them on the bottom. We normally order a beer, if we go to a pub, jedno pivo desítko, which means 10, or 11, 12. So we don't ask it for its make unless it's a special, like non-alcoholic, this one, and the Bock, this one. How do we get these numbers? When we're brewing beer, we use what they call the specific gravity of beer. This number is when you measure, when everything is added to the beer before it's fermented, then this number is measured from the beer with a hydrometer. Now, the specific gravity of water is 1. The specific gravity of a 10 beer is 1.044, and the next one, 11, 12 are higher and higher. So this tells us the starting point of the beer, which gives us whether it's a 10, 11 or 12. So there's a scale on this, so that's what we tend to ask for. Say Samson desítko, prosím, a Samson 10 beer. This is a list of the degrees plato to the original gravity. So you can see 10 equals 1.040, 11 equals 1.044, 12 equals 1.048, and so on. This is our starting point. A 10 beer is about 3.8 to 4% alcohol. 11 beer is sort of 4.5, and a 12 beer is about 5% alcohol. Now that is measured. We need the second reading from our specific gravity. So we have the original gravity, OG, that's the starting point, and the final gravity, FG. After it's fermented, it's measured again, and you will get another figure. So it's this figure minus the first figure times 133, why I don't know, then that gives you the alcohol by volume, ABV. So that gives you the alcohol of this. So these beers here, the 11 is more than the 10 in alcohol. We can't do it from a 10. A 10 can range in alcohol. It depends on how much is fermented of the sugar. If it's a dry end one, then it tends to be a higher alcohol. So we can't tell a 10, we can't say, oh yes, that's 3.5. It could be 3.5 to 4. On this chart, you can see how we work it out. You have the Fg, the final gravity, minus the Og, the original gravity, times 131, equals the alcohol by volume, the ABV. For example, a final gravity of 1.011 at the minus the original gravity of 1.040 times 131 equals 3.799%, so 3.8 ABV, alcohol by volume. So there's 3 bottles here. You can see with this one on the bottom here, there's a 10, there's an 11, you can see on the bottom there, and a 12. So that's the normal ones you get in the pubs. There are specials, 13s, 14s, 16s, and the higher. So these will be a higher alcohol content and tend to be special beers. The highest alcohol content I have here is a 6.1. So let's talk about the names of them. The first one that we have here, then this is a light beer. Světlý is light. Light tends to be used as colour, but it all can mean a light beer as in low alcohol. This one is a Světlý Vyčepný. Vyčepný is like a bartender's beer. That's the best description of it. The next one we have is Tamavi. Tamavi means dark. There is a Černý. Černý means black, but this is Tamavi, and there is a Polo Tamavi, and Polo Tamavi is half dark. Polo is half. Then there is Legerk. Now Legerk is used, you could find one with Legerk on it. This one, for example, here, Světlý Legerk is a light lager. Now, to British people especially, I'm from the UK, then lager is this type of beer. So what does it mean? Well, in this case, then the Legerk is stored in the cellars for longer, 2 to 3 months, where the normal Světlý is not. It's not stored for very long at all. So this one is the Tamavi Legerk. Then you have, let's move that one. Then you have the 11. 11 is the 12, and this one is the, so this is the 12, and this is a Budvar 33. Now we'll come to the numbers in a minute. It's 4.6% alcohol. We'll talk about that one in a minute. Now this is a special beer, Jetskull, from Staropolen, and this one is very low sugar because it's for diabetics. Jetskull is a slang word. It doesn't mean very much, but it's dia is the beer for the name for this. It doesn't sound very good, so they use this name for it. You have got, this is Pito, but this one you can see here, NA, non-alcoholic, nealko in Czech. There's some others. This comes from Budvar Brewery. This is Padau, which is Panther, you can see by the picture. It's their low alcohol beer, a different range. They did a 3.8% alcohol, and the Echt, which is 4.5% alcohol. So this is a 10, this is 11. Another word we have here, pšeničný, sorry, my Czech. This is a wheat beer. So we'll go through about more beers later on and the breweries themselves, and what we would do is talk about the history of the breweries and also what beer they do and where they've come from and when they started. Now I want to talk about the International Bitterness Unit. It's a number and the scale goes from 1 to 100, with 1 being the least bitter to 100 being the most. So let's look at that first. So the bitterness value is normally on the label, not all of them. This one, for example, we can see this one is a 33. So this is quite bitter. As you can see on here, Hårkost, that is bitterness. It says there 33. This one is the Budvar non-alcoholic one, and this has a value of 23. It says there IBU. The Samson one doesn't actually have it. It has a bar of 5 dots, and Hårkost here 1, 2, 3.5. The one on this end has it on the bottom of the label. Let's move it in the middle. The bottom of the label there, and you can see BU, which is bitterness unit of 18 there. The last one is the Tamavi Legerk dark lager, and this one is a 24, so it's quite sweet really compared with the 33 of this one. Okay, so the next one is the European Brewery Convention. Now this is a scale of colour for beer, from a pale beer from about 4 to a stout about 40 or 80. If we look at the Budvar again, we can see that Barva, and Barva is 15 on this scale. So lightish. The non-alcoholic Budvar, that's a 10, that's even lighter colour. Samson is 3 dots on the scale there. The non-filtered wheat beer is giving us 12 on there, so that's quite sweet. Sorry, I'm looking at the yes, colour 12. That's quite sweet. Now we're going for the Tamavi Legerk, the dark one, and this one is 95. You can see it on there, 95 on the colour scale. So it's a very, very dark beer, but 24 on the sweetness side. So it's quite a sweet, dark beer. This scale only goes from 1 to 40 on the International Brewery Convention, but it gives some idea of the colours that we can see on the beers. Basic tax is now 32 krona per hectolitre per 1 degree. So, for example, if you have beer at 10 degrees, it's 10 times 32 equals 320 krona per 1 hectolitre. 1 hectolitre is 100 litres, for example 200.5 litres of beer. So it's 320 krona divided by the 200 beers is 1.6 krona. So if you drink 1 beer in the pub, you pay 1.6 krona to the state budget. So the next example is a 12 beer, so it's 12 times 32 equals 384. So it's 384 divided by 200, so a 12 you pay 1.92 krona. Plus, of course, you've got the DPR, or the VAT, or sales tax, on top of that. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you have any questions or comments, you can put them in below. There'll be a link to some of the scales and things like this below. Please subscribe for some more videos and press on your notifications so that they come up I'll try and get a new video out to you soon, and it will be something about the beers. I will do the history and also the tasting. Thank you very much, and na zdraví, cheers from Beer CZ.